Should women take creatine if they're looking to lose weight? Or is this a bad idea? Is it only for men? It's a great question. There is so much misinformation about creatine, and a lot of women just think it's not something that they should take. It's something that only guys should take. Creatine is a supplement that you can take, but you also get it naturally in food, such as red meat, right? But you just get it in much, much smaller doses to where you would have to eat steak like every day. In order to get the amounts of creatine that you can get from supplementation. A lot of people think that, oh, if I take creatine, it's gonna make me bulk up. Creatine is one of the best supplements that you can take. It's one of the most well-researched supplements. It's not something that's brand new, even though it gets repackaged and called something else, and they try to rebrand it as something different. Creatine is an amazing supplement that helps us to increase our exercise performance. The benefits of this is that it allows you to increase your strength. It allows you to train longer at a higher level, at a higher intensity, and get 1, 2, 3 extra reps on your sets. So you can imagine that if in that same hour you're able to get more work done with heavier weights and you don't get tired as fast, well, that's gonna be super beneficial for you because now your training sessions are gonna be that much more effective. You understand what I'm saying? And then a lot of people think, oh, creatine, like, is it a steroid? Is it a performance enhancer? No. It is nothing like a steroid. It's not even close. Also approved by all major sporting organizations. So it's not something like if you take it, you couldn't play baseball, you couldn't play football. It's very safe and it is very well understood in the fitness community. But by the average person, the average woman, man that's trying to get into fitness, there's still a lot of questions, okay? A lot of people think you take the supplement only to bulk up. While it can definitely help you to bulk up, it's also super beneficial while you're dieting. And let me explain why. When you're dieting, you're cutting your calories down, which means you're gonna have less energy than if you were eating whatever you want. So you're training hard, you're trying to lift these weights, you're trying to go on runs, you're trying to perform well during your workouts so you can burn a lot of calories. But if you're not eating as much food, you're gonna have less energy, you're gonna be more tired, and it's gonna feel like you're dragging in the gym. So that's where things like pre-workouts, things like creatine are gonna help you to have more energy during your workouts. Creatine is not like caffeine where it pumps you up. It's not something that you take right before your workout and you instantly start seeing results from it. It's something that builds up in your system over the course of time. I had one client's husband tell her to stay away from any pre-workouts or supplements that had creatine because it would make her gain weight. And while he had the right idea, there's a little bit of nuance and there's not completely true, and here's why. When you start to take creatine, it will make you gain weight, but it is not gaining fat, okay? You're gaining water weight, and there's 2 different kinds of water weight, all right? There is 2 different kinds of water weight. There's the water weight that most people think of that makes you bloated. That's called subcutaneous water weight. It means it's the one that's right below the skin, right above the fat layer. And then there's intracellular water retention, okay? That's where you're pulling water into your muscles, okay? So it's not making you look fat. In fact, it's making your muscles look full. It's making them look hydrated. One really awesome benefit with creatine, and if anybody's been working out and they leave the gym with that pump and they're like, man, I wish this would stay all the time. Ladies, when you're doing squats and you get that pump in your legs and then your butt, you're like, snap the picture because I look great right now, but it doesn't last. One of the great benefits is some people, while taking creatine, experience that same effect, okay? Because you're swelling the muscle up with fluid and you're drawing in water into your muscles, it's the same effect as when you're pumping it with blood. They're a little bit more full. It looks a little bit more toned, even at rest. So kill that myth right away because creatine does not make you gain fat. Creatine has no calories. Creatine has 0 calories. So if you're gaining fat, it's because you're eating more food and you're less active, or any combination of those 2, but it's not because of the creatine. Now, I will say some people do experience a little bit of bloating, but that is normally during the loading phase of creatine. Remember, creatine's effects are not instant, so it's not like you can just pour it into water, mix it up, drink it, and you're like, yay, I have the benefits of creatine for my workout today. It doesn't work like that, okay? It has to be saturated within your muscles, which takes a few days to be able to happen. Now, a lot of people do what's called a creatine loading phase. Essentially what the creatine loading phase is you're taking an increased amount of creatine, about 20 grams, over the course of 7 days so that your muscles can become saturated with it. Now it can start to be utilized for your workouts. But during that period of time, your body can start to retain water a lot more because you're taking a lot of more creatine than you otherwise would have. So within about 7 days, you're starting to pull in a whole bunch of water very, very, very quickly. And you're like, oh shit, this thing is making me gain weight. Don't be alarmed because it's not fat weight. You're just pulling water into the muscle cells. Now, some people might say, well, Darian, my belly actually looks bigger. But you have to understand, if you have a layer of fat already there, and then you start to fill up the muscles underneath it, now it's gonna push out a little bit more. Okay, that can definitely happen. But you can skip all this. You can skip the loading phase. It is not necessary. You don't necessarily need to just try to cram all that into 7 days. Instead of taking 20 grams for 7 days, having to possibly deal with feeling super bloated, what you would want to do is just take about 3 to 5 grams of creatine daily over the course of 3 to 4 weeks, about a month, and you'll reach full saturation. A little bit longer time, but it allows your body to slowly get saturated so you don't deal with this all of a sudden becoming super bloated. Now, when it comes to taking creatine, there's not a certain optimal time to take it. Some people say it's great to take it right after your workout because your body is most ready to absorb it. Some people say it's great to take it with juice, but honestly, take it with whatever. What I like to do is get it in the flavorless powder so that you can mix it with coffee. You can mix it with your protein shakes, you can mix it with water, you can mix it with whatever you want. The point is just to get the 3 to 5 grams in. This is gonna be super, super nerdy, so please stay with me. I'm gonna be very brief and try to make it as quick as possible so you understand what creatine is doing. So the way that creatine works, very similar to a car needs fuel, your muscles need a fuel source in order to lift the heavy weights. So when you're lifting super heavy or you're doing strength training or explosive work, your body calls on something called ATP. Now, ATP is adenotriphosphate. Now, don't worry about the adeno, don't worry about the phosphate. All you need to remember is tri as in 3, phosphate. It has 3 phosphate molecules. Now, your muscles can only utilize it as fuel if it has all 3 molecules. And once it uses it, once you rev that engine and you do that heavy squat, it breaks off one of those molecules and now it's adeno-di as in 2 phosphates. Okay, now with only 2 phosphates, it's useless. So the benefit of creatine is that your body actually pulls from the saturated creatine reserves that are inside your muscles to give it that extra phosphate group, and now you have more ATP. Now for illustration purposes, imagine you're doing heavy squats, and say you had 5 ATP molecules, and on the 10th rep, you burned out every single one of those molecules. You have nothing left. So now you can't get another rep in. But now that you have creatine, you have 10 ATP molecules, allowing you to get 13, 14, 15 reps instead of just 10. Can you see how this is more beneficial? More volume during your workout, more weight being lifted, more time under tension, more overload means more gains for you. So this is super beneficial whether you're trying to bulk up or you're trying to get lean and lose weight. Creatine is great to take all the time. You do not need to take a break. It is super, super safe, and I highly encourage you to start taking it if you haven't already. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to give me a like so I know I'm doing a good job. Comment on the video, share it with your friends, and even send me a DM and tell me that you enjoyed this video. It's very motivating to me. It takes a lot of time to get down here, shoot the videos, edit them, get the information up, and post it in a somewhat informative, exciting way for you to enjoy. So I really hope you're enjoying it. I'm trying my best to give you guys new content every single week. And yeah, I'll be back next time. Bye. At the end of the day, if you're watching my channel, your goal is not to be a super skinny twig with no muscle tone at all. What most people express to me is that they want to like the way that they look. And if they like the way they look in the mirror, but the scale isn't what they thought the number was, it doesn't really matter. You have to understand that whenever you're dieting, you have 2 main goals. One of them is to lower the fat as low as you possibly can, and the second one is to retain as much muscle as possible. The problem is that when you lose fat, your body wants to get rid of the muscle as well. So you have to give your body a reason to hang on to that muscle, and that is through strength training. That's why we don't just do cardio every single day. and diet because you would lose all of your muscle. You would not like the way you look and you would end up looking skinny fat, which I don't think anybody wants to look skinny fat. So to combat that, you have to make sure you're dieting in order to lower the fat, you're doing a little bit of cardio to burn some extra calories, but you're also lifting heavy to give your body a reason to hang on to your muscle, and if you're a beginner, allow you to gain some more. That's gonna allow you to be toned. You have to understand that if you're dieting and for every pound of fat that you lose, you're also losing a half pound of muscle, you're on the fast track to not liking the way you look. Okay, the goal is to keep the same amount of muscle you have right now and then lose as much fat as you possibly can, stripping away the fat to be able to reveal the definition in your arms, your stomach, your glutes, your legs. That is the game.